Hello there, ladies. That includes you, Liam Watts. Today, we're going to be looking at malnutrition statistics. Whoop, whoop. You've heard the claim that socialist countries have higher malnutrition rates than the West. The point of this video is to show that this is not true. It's just not true. At least from 2015 to now, which is when we're going to be looking at the statistics. These statistics come from the World Health Organization, or the WHO, and the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, the IHME. I'm not making any claims about the past. I'm not here to defend Mao, or Castro, which that's not Castro, but that will be saved for separate videos, the defense. But that's half a joke. But I thought I'd show like statistics from both sources because like it doesn't make a difference, but I thought like better two than one. You know what I'm saying? So on the credibility of the sources, the IMF is funded through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which like peak capitalist, American capitalist funding. Maybe you jive with Bill and Melinda Gates. I don't know. Maybe you don't. But the World Health Organization, or the WHO, is through the UN, which is usually controlled by like capitalist imperialist countries. So let's get into these graphs. So to start, here are some bar graphs from the World Health Organization and the IHME from 2021 and 2023, respectively. The only real takeaway is that the US has up to quadruple the malnutrition death rate than even North Korea, and all the other socialist countries are far lower than the US. I think that's pretty simple to read. But I don't think North Korea is socialist anymore, but either way, they're like the example people think of when they think like evil commie country. You know what I mean? So I trust the IHME's data a bit more when it comes to the study because the data better correlates historical events that would have like real impacts on like nutrition. But just for clarification, the number here is rate, not just deaths total, right? Like it's deaths per 100,000 people. And even if it was just the total, I'm pretty sure China would have like a lot less than the US still. But next up, we have the GOAT of statistics. That's right, a line graph. So the first line graph shown for the World Health Organization's data, there's nothing really interesting to say besides like, oh boy, those commies sure are eating well. So we're just gonna break down the IHME line graph. We can see that the US has been going up while everyone else has stayed the same. So we zoom out and look at the larger trends since 1980, we can get a better picture.
China
has drastically reduced its malnutrition rate since Deng Xiaoping's reforms around 1980. Cuba and Vietnam both decreased malnutrition rates after some market reforms, Vietnam making more concessions than Cuba though. On the other hand, America skyrocketed around 2012. I believe this is due to the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, and a continued disregard for the living standards and conditions of Americans. This is where we can start seeing the cancerous nature of neoliberalism. Just wanted to briefly speculate on what the modern statistics for Cuba would show, but those are not released yet, so this is just speculation. So when I was in Cuba, both like twice within the last year, I was told that when Trump got elected in 2024, almost immediately their rations got cut. So before they had daily like state provided beans, meat, milk, oil, all of this jazz, that got cut very fast after Trump like tightened the noose around Cuba. But now they just have like daily like rice and bread, which is not enough. You need protein. So I would guess that after that, malnutrition rates should have changed. But here's a picture of a ration book I got a picture of when I was in Cuba. Time to move on to comparative graphs. So my highlights here are the countries I think compare to each other in historical conditions. I don't think it's best to go in depth on why I chose these comparisons for each country, but I think it's fair to compare Cuba and Haiti because of their colonial history and the way they've dealt with Western imperialism in relation to their plantation economies. India and China might be a bit more of a stretch, but I hope you catch the vibe. And for Thailand and Vietnam, Vietnam had an extremely bloody struggle against America, Cambodia, China, and France. And Thailand has been a monarchy since their first king Rama in 1782. We're actually on Rama the 10th now. But fun fact, Thailand was allied with the Axis powers in World War II. And that same monarchy still exists today, to combat communist influence in the area. Not that those two things about Vietnam and Thailand actually or a reason for my comparison. They're just two things that do exist. But they're in the same region. I don't know. There's more there, but those are just fun facts, I guess. Anyways, you can look at these statistics and make your own comparative conclusions. But in conclusion, even under horrible conditions caused by American imperialism, socialism, or state capitalism controlled by the Communist Party, if you want to call it that, still feeds people better than America. Cuba is an example of actually existing socialism. Shout out to Alejandro and Roberto Torres, my goats.